This is part 2 of a video series on how to assemble these articulated finger extensions from Thingiverse. This is the assembly video, the second one. So I'm assuming at this point, if you're watching this, you know what all the pieces are. You've already sized them correctly for yourself, you've printed them, and you're ready to go with the installation, or the assembly, sorry. If that's not the case, links in the description for the original video that deals with what the models are, sizing, everything along, how to print them, that kind of thing. So if you don't know exactly what all these pieces are that we're going to be dealing with today, it's probably a good idea to go watch the first video. Also, if you look in the description, there should be a link to the little printed guide I made for this, and it has the assembly instructions in it. It's not a bad idea to keep it near you while you're going through and putting it together. So what you're going to need is your elastic or wire, or I used TPU originally or whatever like that, and something to cut it with. And you can see I have several tools here as well. Now, not all of these tools are not completely necessary, but they are very helpful. You definitely need something to cut the little string or whatever with. I think a pair of small pliers, a pair of large pliers. I always like to have my caliper near me when I'm doing anything with 3D printing. And then drill bits will really help a lot too. You do not necessarily need the drill, just the bits. Potentially you could use the drill. I haven't tried myself. I've drilled 3D printed items before, but these are all kind of a little, some of them are fairly thin, so I don't know that I'd recommend using the drill. If anybody does use a drill and wants to let us know in the comments below, then that'd be great. But otherwise it's not too hard to do manually anyway. So as far as the drill bits go, and it doesn't have to be a drill bit, but these are generally what I find to be the best and easiest things to use. The 7/64 size is the perfect size for the bolts at 100% print. I'm doing a 110% because the 22s were too small for my fingers. So I use the 1/8 today. It seems to me that like going up or down one is going to equate to about a 10% increase or decrease if you're scaling these at all. But the main thing is you want to, let's see, you want to match up your bolts to the thickness of the drill bit in order to figure out what size you need. I think these are good because you can kind of twist them in and pull them out, and I'll show you what we use it for in a minute. But first off, I did want to go over real quick in case you didn't watch it and you're just here for the assembly. The way the parts are named is they're all named as German words, and if you don't speak German, that can be a touch confusing. So just to let you know, the Bolzen is German word for bolt. The tile is the German word for part, so I'm going to say part instead of tile. Let's see, I forgot what the other two words are off here. Verbinder, or Verbinder, what is it, Verbinder? Yeah, Verbinder is the German word for connector, which is this piece right here. The, let's see, Zahnrad is the German word for gears. And the Zugabel is the German word for lever, and it's going to be these two pieces right here. So I'm going to refer to them as lever, gear, etc., as we're going through this. Let me tilt this camera up just a tad. All right, so as I said, it's a good idea to have your drill bit. The reason you want this is the bolts are a very, very tight fit into the holes on the pieces. So what I would do is before you get started, before you start any assembly, you take the drill bit, whatever that matches your bolts, and you're going to basically twist it through and then just get it to the point where you can push it in and out with just a little bit of resistance. And you want to do that to every single piece as far as the parts go. You also want to do it to all the gears. This was a little tight still. You want to do it to the gears, the parts, the levers, anything that has holes going through it. There's just a couple of exceptions to this. If you look at parts 1 and 2, since the, let's see, oops, sorry, this is the bottom, no, that's the bottom. Parts 1 and 2, well, part 2, for instance, this long at the end right here, you don't have to drill these out because that's for the elastic. And then part 1, the only ones you have to do it to are the, I don't know if you can see this real well, but the very top ones, the ones that kind of poke up. Because the ones down here are for the string, and then the ones in the back you don't even use. I think these are vestigial from the original design. So other than those holes, I would go through everything, all your levers, all your gears, all your parts, and just push the drill bit through until you can kind of slide it in and out. And that'll make things a lot easier for you. If you don't, it's going to be very tough to get your bolts through. Make sure you print some extra 24 millimeter bolts. I would recommend. I do about 10 24 millimeters, and then everything else just I do what I need. And that way, because the shorter ones tend to break less, and B, you can always cut the 24s into a shorter piece if you need to. So, with that having said, let's go get started. So for first step, we're going to need part 5, 13 millimeter bolt, 15 millimeter bolt, the connector, and lever 2. Connector is again the little smooth piece like this with 2 holes in it, and then the lever 2 is the longer, skinnier one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take part 5, and you want to get the gap that's in the bottom facing down. And the first thing I'm going to do is take the connector, and on the connector you can see there's one hole that's kind of close to the end and one hole that's further away. You want to take the hole closest to the end and connect it to the top of the part 5. You want to match up with that hole. Once you do that, you are going to take your 15 millimeter bolt and slide it through there if you can. Now, one thing about the bolts also, I find that since I print them standing straight up, on my printer at least, it tends to kind of flatten the end that it's standing on whenever it goes. So you want to just watch which way you're sticking them through, because you want to do the part that's not like a little flattened out. Otherwise, it's not going to really slide through well at all. All right, let me match this puppy up. Come on now. Sometimes what I do is I take the drill bit, and once I match the hole up, I'll slide the bit through to kind of lock it in place. And then I'll take the bolt and push it into there. Once I get that, I can kind of go like this and get it in. Now, this is where your large pliers will come in handy, because once it gets in there, it's not too tough to like just grab this and kind of squeeze that in. And there we go. All right, once you've got the connector attached to the top of part 5, what you're going to do is take the lever 2. You want to take the skinnier end, so you can see like this is a little skinnier, this is a little thicker. And on the skinnier end, if you look at it real close, you can see like there's a little bump that kind of faces up on top of the hole. You want that facing up into your finger. So you're going to take lever 2, your finger, and then you're going to match up the bottom holes right here. Then you're going to take your size 13 bolt, or your 13 millimeter bolt, sorry. I'm going to do the trick with the drill bit again. Get there. There we go. Yep. Take our little bolt and just try and slide that puppy in. Now it looks like I didn't bore this one out enough, so I'm having a little trouble. Yeah, a little trouble getting the bolt through there. Yeah, there's a little piece of material stuck inside of it. That's what's going on, I believe. It's not a bad idea to always check with an actual bolt. Once you've bored everything through, just kind of see if you can slide a bolt a little bit into each piece. I didn't do that this time, but it's generally a good idea to do so. Yeah, look at that little bugger right there. So let's try it again. A little bump at the top goes into the finger. There's still a little piece of material in there. Good old 3D printing, man. There we go, got it out. 13mm bolt. Let's see if we can get it through without having to do our little trick. Nope. There we go. Get this puppy in here. Pull this out a bit. Put that in a little. Yep, there we go, right in. Probably use smaller pliers for this, just to pop it in place. No deal. All right, so your end result should look like this. As far as the Part 5, Step 1. All right, Step 2, you are going to need Part 4. You are going to need Gear 2 and 24mm and a 21.5mm. Gear 2 is the one that almost looks like the connector, but at the one end it's got the little teeth on it. So, let's see. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to take the little gap in the in Part 4, and it's going to match with the gap at the bottom of the Part 5 finger. So what you want to do is take Part 4 and you're going to, let's see how I can hold this. You're going to slide it over the lever and get it to where the connector piece that's already attached to Part 5 is going to match up with the hole on this side of Part 4. Then you are going to take the 21.5mm bolt and put it through that hole in Part 4. Go ahead and get my drill bit through first. Alright, let's see. Dang it. Okay, looks like that's locked in there. Take our 21.5 bolt and we're going to put it through. It's like it's in there. Slide it on in and boom, boom, boom. Yes. So then we want to take gear 2 and you want to set it to where the teeth are kind of pointing down towards the bottom of the finger. And then you're going to take the non-geared end and you're going to put it into the end of Part 4. Match the holes up. I'm going to stick my drill bit through the back here. That's locked. Take our 24mm bit, bolt, and slide that in and pull this out a little. Now, the 24s, like I said, you're going to end up snapping a lot. You want to be very careful. So when you're pushing them in, it's a good practice to like grab the entire thing and then try and push that way until you get it a little ways in. And then once you get it a little further in, you can use your big pliers and kind of just push it all the way through. Cool. Next part, step, what, 3 are we on? Okay, this is the most complicated step. And after this, we're pretty much home free. So you're going to need Part 3, Gear 1, which is the thing that looks like a gear with 2 little ridges coming off with holes on it. We are going to need Lever 1, which is the shorter, thicker lever. We are going to need an 11mm bolt, a 19mm bolt, and 2 24s. All right, so first thing we're going to do is put and I recommend no matter which way you're building, when you get to this piece, you really want to do this first, is we're going to take gear 1. You see this is part 3, and you can see the gap in the top right there, and you're going to slide this gear into the gap. And you want to make sure that the little slant from the holes at the top is sticking forward. So towards the front of the part, slide that in, match the hole up between the gear and the part, and then we are going to connect it with a 24mm bolt. There's a little stringing on these bolts, I'm sorry about that. Let's see which is my good side, this one. So now that the gear is in there, we're going to put this through the very middle hole. We're going to put the 24mm dealie. Oh, there you go. And then we can take our big pliers and do the rest of it. Oh, no, that's not way far enough in yet. Let's do that. Oh, something's wrong here. Got a little stringing on here. I think it's causing some problems. Something's not right. Shit, well, there goes a piece of 24. This is why we make extras, folks, because even if you've done this several times, then you can tend to snap these puppies. So I'm going to stick this through from the other side, pop this out, push this all the way through. We're not lined up here. Looks like we should be okay. Go back through this side. I don't know, maybe that bolt just didn't want to go in, I don't know. All right, let's try it again. Take another 24. Put it through this side maybe. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so then you'll have part 3 and your gear 1, which is with the slanted side pointing towards the front of part 3. Definitely want to do that first, because that needs to be in place before you hook it to the rest of these parts. So the next point we're going to do is we're going to connect basically part 3 to part 2, or part 4, I'm sorry. Now here's the deal. The gears on gear 2 are going to match up with the gears on gear 1. So however you connect this, it's going to affect how your finger is when it's straight. If you see these two over here that I have, this one is stick straight when I push it forward. It does not, there's no curve to it. It, you know, it's completely straight. This one, when I built it, this is all the way forward, and you can see it's slightly curved. It still works, but there's a little curve to it when it's straightened out. It's not as stick straight as the other one. If you look at the two side by side, those are both completely extended flat. So when you're putting your gear in, you need to put it in the way that you want the finger to be when it's straightened out. Make sure the gears catch, and then what you want to do is match your holes up, and then I would recommend doing the gear part first, which is the lower hole on part 3, because you want your gear to be locked in, and the other part you can connect and it'll be fine, but okay, that should be all right. Now we are going to take another 24 and we're going to push it through this hole that's on the lower part of part 3, not the upper one. So that through gear 2, and then out the other side. This is kind of a pain too. Like I said, this is the most difficult step in building the entire thing. Ah, there's a break in it. Damn it. Oh, maybe it'll still be all right. Ooh, got it. All right. So now you can see, well, this isn't going to turn yet, but like when you'll pull the gear, it'll move the fingers. But we got to connect the, first thing we got to do is connect the end of lever 2 to the top of this hole. So you'll need another, what do we need? 19 millimeter, that's what I need. So make sure the hole on lever 2 is lined up with the top hole in the front of part 3. We are going to go ahead and put our drill bit through there just to kind of lock it in place. And then I'm going to take my 19 millimeter bolt and I am going to pop it through here. Pull the drill bit back out. And then I'm going to push this 19 millimeter bolt in all the way. There we go, beautiful. All right, last part of this step, we're going to take lever 1. You're going to take the the thicker part at the top, not the skinnier part. And I don't know how well you can see this, but there's like a little ridge next to it that slants a direction. You want the slant of this to match up with the back of your gear 1. So where the slant will match the gear. I don't know how well you can see that. Hopefully you can see it okay if I can get it a little closer. The slant needs to match the gear. So I'm going to put this into here. I'm going to take an 11 millimeter bolt. I think. Yeah, 11 millimeter. And I'm going to pop this through there and lock it in place. That's not going through too easy, so let's try and do this with the drill bit. Yeah, looks like we need to that's fine. It's got to be this piece. This lever, yep, a little bit of gunk left in there. Probably from the supports or whatever. Come on, dude. That's the big one, okay. So yeah, there should be good to go now. All right. Oh wait, sorry, it was this side. Oop. This is why, yet again, it's very important to bore everything out with your drill bits very well before you get going, because otherwise it will be almost impossible to get all this junk through. Here's my 11mm piece. All right, match the slanted piece up with the back of the gear, and we're gonna put this 11mm through the top. Like so. Let's do this. There we go. That should be better. Okay, 11mm, let's get you through there. There we go. And now take the big pliers and finish it off. And that should be the end of step 3. Okay, next 2 steps are very easy. You will need part 2 and a 24mm bolt for the next one. And all you're gonna really do is slide part 2 with a whole piece at the bottom onto part 3. Match the holes up there. Yeah. And then we're going to take our drill bit again. We're going to poke it through to make sure everything's lined up. Yes. Take our 24. We got to pop it in there. Slide this back. There you go. Let's see there to the other side now. And then grab our big pliers. I think we're good there, right? Are you poking through right? Maybe not. Let's try and go ahead and let's see, this one's kind of can be a little tricky because you're not putting it through another piece, you're just putting it straight into the dealie, into the part. So there's nothing really to hold it in place, and it looks like this one's got a little kinked. Oop, there we go. Good now? Nope. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but where the drill bit's popping up, the bolt is a little off-centered right now. So I'm just trying to match the hole because it's not really going through the right way. So what I'm probably going to do is try and go through the other side. So start on this bit and then go through here. There we go. And then through to here. And yeah, that looks like that's matching up a lot better. Yeah, all right. So then we can take our big pliers, finish it off with a little push. Ah, there we go, beautiful. And your end result should look like this. Oops, sorry, like this. So, last part, and then we're done. You need your part 1 and 11mm bolt. All you're gonna do is the little holes that stick up on top from the little ridges there, you can see them, are going to hook to the end of your lever, like this. So, we'll just pop this on here. Push the, put our drill bit through just for kicks. Generally the short ones don't give you as much trouble with the 11s and 13s and stuff, but you know, there's always potential for problems. Okay, take our 11 and we're going to try and put it through here. Ugh. Something's not fitting right there. Yep, little piece of gunk in there. Should be okay now. I'm just going to use the smaller drill bit here. Kind of connect the two. There we go. Come back halfway down. Give me my 11, and there we go. Pull this out. Grab our big pliers. Snap it in. There we go. Now, end result. Blah blah blah. Now, the next part you're going to do is your elastic or whatever. You can use anything you want to. I've got the TPU, it worked fine. My original plan was to melt the TPU so it wouldn't be tied and just be melted down, but I'm not that experienced with 3D printing, and I don't know if you've ever taken an open flame to TPU, but it did not work out well. I'll just say that. So anyway, you're going to take the elastic or whatever, or TPU or wire or whatever the hell you want to use, run it through the end of part 2, also through the end of part 1, right here. And then tie it. I need to do that on each side. And essentially it's going to end up looking like this. And you're done. And your finger will be ready to go. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try and check them from time to time. And remember, the link to the thing, the link to the written guide, and the other video are all in the description. Thanks.